strange that Lord Windermere isn't here. And Mr. Hopper is very late, too. Now, you did say those 5 dances for him, like I told you.
Yes, Mama.
Let me see your dance card here. I'm so glad Lady Windermere brought the cards back. It really is a mother's only safeguard. Oh, you dear silly thing. One must never waltz with such particularly younger sons. It's fast. There you are. Now, you can take the last 2 dances on the terrace with Mr. Hopper.
Yes, Mama.
The air is so nice out there.
Mrs. Cooper. Lady Studfield. Sir James Royston.
Good evening, Lady Studfield. I suppose this will be the last ball of the season.
I suppose so, Mr. Dummy. It's been a delightful season, hasn't it?
Quite delightful. Good evening, Duchess. I suppose this will be the last ball of the season.
Oh, I suppose, Mr. Dummy. It's been such a dull season.
Dreadfully dull. Dreadfully dull.
Why, good evening, Mr. Dummy. I suppose this will be the last ball of the season.
No, I think not. There will probably be 2 more.
Mr. Rockford. Lady Jedburgh and Miss Graham. Mr. Hopper.
How do you do, Lady Windermere? How do you do, Duchess?
Mr. Hopper, how kind of you to come so early. We know how sought after you are in London.
Capital place, London. You know, nearly so exclusive as Dan said.
Well, that's because we know your true value, sir. If there were more like you, our lives would be so much easier. Agatha and I have been studying about Australia. It must be pretty with all those little kangaroos jumping all over the place. Oh, Agatha looked it up on the map. It has this peculiar shape. It's kind of like a large packing box, isn't it? But it's a very young country, isn't it?
Wasn't it made at the same time as the others, Duchess?
Oh, you are so clever, Mr. Hopper. You have a cleverness all your own. We mustn't keep you.
But why should want to dance with Lady Agatha?
Oh, I'm not sure she has any dances left. Do you have a dance, dear?
Yes, Mama.
Is it the next one?
Yes, Mama.
May I have the pleasure?
Now you take good care of my little chatterbox.
Lord Augustus Wharton.
Good evening, Lady Windermere.
Oh, Sir James, would you take me into the ballroom, please? I dined with Lord Augustus this evening, and I've had quite enough of him for the evening.
Lord and Lady Paisley. Lord Darling.
I want to speak to you particularly, dear boy. I'm worn to a shadow. No, I don't look it. None of us men do look what we really are. Damn good thing, too. What I want to know is this. Who is she? Where does she come from? Why hasn't she got any damn relations? Damn nuisance relations, but they make one so damn respectable.
You're speaking of Mrs. Erlin, I suppose. I only met her 6 months ago. Before that, I didn't even know she was alive.
You've seen a good deal of her since then.
Yes, I've seen a good deal of Mrs. Erling. I just saw her.
God, the women are very down on her. I've been dining with Arabella this evening. By Jove, you should have heard what she said about Mrs. Erling. She didn't leave a rag on her. Derek and I told her that didn't matter much, and the lady in question must have an extremely fine figure. You should have seen Arabella's expression. But look here, dear boy, I don't know what to do about Mrs. Erling. Me, Carol, I might be married to her. She treats me with such damned indifference. She's deuced clever, too. She explains everything. Egad, she explains you. She has any amount of explanations for you, dear boy. All of them different.
There are no explanations needed for my friendship with Mrs. Erling.
Well, look here, dear old fellow. Do you think she'll ever get back into this thing called society? Would you introduce her to your wife? Now, you speaking about the confounded bush, would you do that?
She is coming here tonight.
Your wife has sent her a card?
The card has been sent.
Well, then she's all right, dear boy. Why didn't you tell me that before? You would have saved me a heap of worry and dead misunderstandings.
Mr. Cecil Brown.
Good evening, Arthur. Why don't you ask me how I am? I like people to ask me how I am. It shows a widespread interest in my health. Now, tonight I am not at all well. Been dining with my people. Wonder why it is one's people are always so tedious. My father would talk morality after dinner. I told him he was old enough to know better. But my experience is, the moment someone is old enough to know better, you find they don't know anything at all. Hello, Tuppy. Yeah, you're going to be married again. Thought you were tired of that game.
You're excessively trivial, my boy. Excessively trivial.
By the way, Tuppy, which is it? Have you been twice married and once divorced? Or twice divorced and once married? I say you've been twice divorced and once married. It seems so much more probable.
I have a very bad memory. I really don't remember which.
Lord Windermere, I have something most particular to ask you.
You excuse me, I must go speak to my wife.
Oh, you mustn't dream of such a thing. It's most dangerous nowadays for a husband to pay any attention to his wife in public. It always makes people think that he beats her when they're alone. Girls grow so suspicious of anything that looks like a happy married life. But I'll tell you what it is. At supper.
Margaret, may I speak to you?
Shall I let down, Lord darling?
Margaret, what we spoke about before dinner, you know, that is quite impossible.
That woman is not coming here tonight.
She is coming here, and if you bother or annoy her in any way, you'll shame us all. Margaret, trust me. A wife should trust her husband.
London is full of women who trust their husbands. One can always recognize them. They always look so thoroughly unhappy. I'm not going to be one of them. Lord Darlington, may I have my fan back? Thank you. I used to sing fans. I want a friend to make me love. Didn't know I would want one so soon.
Knew the time would come, Lady Windermere, but why tonight?
I must tell her. I will tell her. Margaret.
Mrs. Erling.
How do you do, Lord Windermere? Again. Oh, how charming your sweet wife looks. Quite a picture.
It's very rash of you coming here today.
Oh, no. It's the wisest decision I've ever made. Oh, by the way, you should have to pay a great deal of attention to me tonight. I'm afraid of the women. You should introduce me to some of them. The men I can always manage. Lord Augustus! Oh, dear Lord Augustus, you have quite neglected me lately. I haven't seen you since yesterday. You're quite faithless. Everyone told me so.
Now, really, Mrs. Erling, allow me to explain.
Oh, no, dear Lord Augustus, you can't explain anything. That's your chief charm.
Ah, you find charms in me, Mrs. Erling.
How pale you look.
Carol's always pale.
You look faint. Come out onto the terrace.
Parker, would you send my cloak out to the terrace?
Oh, Lady Windermere, how beautifully your terrace is illuminated. Quite reminds me of Prince Doria's at Rome. girl. I should so much like to know her.
Oh, certainly, if you wish it. And Caroline, allow me to introduce Mrs. Erlin.
How do you do? So pleased to meet you. Your nephew and I are such great friends. And I'm so interested in his political career. I'm sure he's going to be a great success. I mean, after all, he thinks like a Tory, but he talks like a radical, which is so important these days. And he's such a good talker. But we all know from whom he gets that. Why, Lord Allendale was just saying to me in the park yesterday that Mr. Grant speaks almost as well as his aunt. Most kind of you to say these charming things to me.
Did you introduce Mrs. Erlin to Lady Jedburgh?
Had to, my dear fellow, couldn't help it. That woman can make one do anything she wants. How? I don't know.
Would to goodness she won't speak to me.
On Thursday? Oh, with pleasure. Oh, it is such a bore to be civil to these old dowagers, but they do insist on it.
You know, is that well-dressed woman talking to Windermere?
Haven't got the slightest idea. Looks to be an edition deluxe of the wicked French novel meant especially for the English market.
Oh, is that Mr. Dummy with Lady Clemmendale? Oh, I hear she's terribly jealous of him. Doesn't seem to be very anxious to speak to me tonight. I suppose he's afraid of her. Those straw-colored women have such dreadful tempers. Oh, I believe I shall dance with you first. It will make Lord Augustus so jealous. Oh, Lord Augustus! Lord Windermere insists that I dance with him first, and as it is his house, I can hardly refuse. You know I would much rather dance with you.
I wish I could think so, Mrs. Erlin.
Oh, you know it to be true. One could fancy dancing through life with you and finding it charming.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. You are the most adorable of all ladies.
Oh, what a nice speech. So simple. So sincere. You may hold my bouquet. Shall we go? Oh, Mr. Dummy, I am so sorry I was out the last 3 times you called. Please, come for lunch on Friday.
Delighted.
What an absolute brute you are. I never believe a word you say. Why did you tell me you didn't know her? What do you mean by calling on her 3 times running? You are not to lunch with her. Of course you understand.
Oh, my dear Laura, I wouldn't dream of going.
You haven't told me her name yet. Who is she?
She's a Mrs. Erlin.
That woman?
Yes, that is what everyone calls her.
How very interesting. How intensely interesting. I really must have a good stare at her. I have heard the most shocking things about her. They say she is ruining poor Windermere, and Lady Windermere, who goes to for being so proper, invites her. How extremely amusing. No, it takes a thoroughly good woman to do a thoroughly stupid thing. You are to lunch there on Friday.
Why?
Because I want you to take my husband with you. He's been so attentive lately that he's become a perfect nuisance. Now this woman is just the thing for him. He'll dance attendance upon her as long as she lets him. It won't bother me. I assure you, women of that kind are most useful. They form the basis of other people's marriages.
What a mystery you are.
I wish you were.
I am, to myself. I am the only person in the world I should like to know thoroughly, but I don't see any chance of it just at present.
Yes, her coming here is monstrous, unbearable. I know now what you meant today at tea time. Why didn't you tell me right out? You should have.
I couldn't. A man can't say those things about another man. And I know he was going to make you ask her here tonight. I think I would have told you that. That insult, at any rate, you would have been spared.
I did not ask for him. He insisted on her coming. Against my entreaties, against my commands. The house is tainted for me. I feel that every woman here sneers at me as she dances by with my husband. What have I done to deserve this? I gave him all of my life. He took it, used it, spoiled it. And I'm degraded now in my own eyes, and I lack courage. I am a coward.
If I know you at all, I know that you can't live with a man who treats you like this. What sort of life would you live? You would feel that he was lying to you every moment of the day. You would feel that the look in his eyes was false. His voice, false. His touch, false. His passion, false. He would come to you when he was weary of others, and you would have to comfort him. He would come to you when he was devoted to others, and you would have to charm him. You would have to be to him the mask of his real life, the cloak to hide his secret.
You are right. You are terribly right. But where am I to turn? You said you would be my friend, Lord Darlington. Tell me, what am I to do? Be my friend now.
Between men and women, there is no friendship possible. There's passion, enmity, worship, love, but no friendship. I love you.
No. No.
Yes, I love you. You are more to me than anything in the world. What does your husband give you? Nothing. Whatever is in him, he gives to this woman, whom he has thrust into your society, into your home, to shame you before everyone. I offer you my life.
Lord Darlington!
My life. Take it and do with it what you will. I love you. Love you as I have never loved any living thing. From the moment I met you, I loved you. Loved you blindly, adoringly, madly. You did not know it then. You know it now. Leave this house tonight. I won't tell you that the world matters nothing, or that the world's voice, or the voice of society, they matter a good deal. They matter far too much. But there are moments when one has to choose between living one's own life fully, entirely, completely, or dragging out some false, shallow, degrading existence that the world and its hypocrisy demands. You have that moment now. Choose. My love, choose.
I have not the courage.
Yes, you have the courage. There may be 6 months of pain, of disgrace even. But when you no longer bear his name, when you bear mine, all will be well. Yes, Margaret, my love, my wife, yes, my wife that shall be. What are you now? This woman has the place that belongs, by right, to you. Go. Go out of this house with head erect, with a smile on your lips and courage in your eyes. All of London will know why you did it. And who will blame you? No one. And if they do, what matter? Wrong? What is wrong? It's wrong for a man to abandon his wife for a shameless woman. It is wrong for a woman to stay with a man who so dishonors her. You said once you'd make no compromise with things. Make none now. Be brave. Be yourself.
I am afraid of being myself. Let me think. Let me wait. My husband may return to me.
Take him back. You are not what I thought you were. You are just the same as every other woman. You would endure anything rather than face the censure of a world whose praise you would despise. In a week, you'll be driving with this woman in the park. She will be your dearest friend, your constant guest. You would stand anything rather than break with one blow this monstrous lie. You're right. You have no courage. None.
Just let me think. I cannot answer you now.
It must be now or not at all.
Then not at all.
You break my heart.
Mine is already broken.
Tomorrow, I leave England. You shall never see me again. It's the last I shall ever look upon you. One moment, our lives met. Our souls touched. They may never meet or touch again. Goodbye, Margaret.
How alone I am in this world. How terribly alone.
Margaret, I have just been having the most delightful chat with Mrs. Erlin. Such an intelligent woman. I need to apologize for what I said to you about her at your house this afternoon. She must be all right, or you wouldn't have invited her. She has such sensible ideas about life. She told me that she thoroughly disapproves of anyone marrying more than once. And that makes me feel so secure about Augustus. I wonder why people speak so ill of her all the time. I'll bet it's the Savile girls. Ooh, they're always talking scandals. Still, if I were you, dear, I would go to Hamburg. She's just a little too attractive. Have you seen Agatha? Oh, Mr. Hopper, you make me so angry. You have taken Agatha out on the terrace, and you know how delicate she is.
Awfully sorry, Duchess. We went out for a moment and got chitting together.
Agatha,
Yes, Mama?
did Mr. Hopper actually...
Yes, Mama.
And did you answer, dear?
Yes, Mama.
Oh, you're such a good girl. You always know the right thing to say. Mr. Hopper, James, Agatha has told me everything. How cleverly you have kept your secret.
You don't mind my taking Agatha off to Australia then, Duchess?
Oh, don't mention that horrid, vulgar place.
But she said she'd like to come with me.
Did you say that, Agatha?
Yes, Mama.
Oh, you say the silliest things possible sometimes. Why, you could be just as healthy living in Grosvenor Square. There's lots of vulgar people live in Grosvenor Square, but at least there's no little kangaroos crawling all over the place. We'll talk about it tomorrow. You may take Agatha down, and you will come to lunch, won't you? Make it 1:30 instead of 2 o'clock. I think the Duke will want to have a few words with you.
Well, I should like to have a chat with the Duchess. He's not said a single word to me yet.
No, I think you'll find he'll have quite a few words to say to you tomorrow. Well, Margaret, good night. It's that age-old story. Love, if not at first sight, at the end of the season, which is so much more satisfactory.
Good night, Duchess.
My dear Margaret, what a handsome woman your husband has been dancing with. I should be quite jealous if I were you. Is she a great friend of yours?
No.
Really? Good night, dear.
Awful manners young Hopper has.
Ah, Hopper is one of nature's gentlemen. The worst type of gentleman I know.
sensible woman, Lady Windermere. Lots of wives would have objected to Mrs. Erlin's coming. But Lady Windermere has that uncommon thing called common sense.
And Windermere knows that nothing looks so like innocence as an indiscretion.
Yes. Dear Windermere is becoming almost modern. Never thought he would.
Good night, Lady Windermere. What a fascinating woman Mrs. Erlin is. She's coming to lunch on Thursday. Won't you come too? I'm expecting the bishop and your Lady Merton.
I'm afraid I'm engaged, Lady Jedburgh.
Oh, so sorry. Come here.
There's still just as many fools in society as there used to be. Pleasant to know that nothing has altered. Except Margaret. She's grown quite pretty. The last time I saw her, 20 years ago, she was a positive fright in flannel. A positive fright, I assure you. Oh, and the dear Duchess and sweet Lady Agatha. I mean, after all, if I'm going to be the Duchess's sister-in-law, then...
Are you?
Oh, why, yes. I've told Lord Augustus to call tomorrow at 12 o'clock. He wanted to propose tonight. In fact, he did. He just kept on proposing. You know how he repeats himself. It's such a bad habit. Anyway, I told him I would give him an answer tomorrow. Well, I'm going to accept it, of course. And I dare say I shall make an admirable wife, as wives go. Lord Augustus has a great many good qualities. Fortunately, they're all right there on the surface where they should be. You will encourage, you will help us in this matter.
I am not called upon to encourage Lord Augustus.
Oh, no. I do the encouraging. No, but you will make me a handsome settlement, won't you, Windermere?
Is that what you wanted to speak to me about tonight?
Oh, yes.
I will not do this here.
Oh, then we'll do it on the terrace. Even business should have a picturesque background. I think with the proper background, women can do anything.
Well, tomorrow do as well.
No, I'm going to accept him tomorrow. And I think an additional £2,000 a year from a third cousin or a second husband or some distant relative like that would be an additional attraction. You have a wonderful opportunity to pay me a compliment right now. Oh, I see you're not very clever at paying compliments. Margaret doesn't encourage you in that rather excellent habit. It's unfortunate. It's a mistake on her part. When men stop saying what is charming, they stop thinking what is charming. So, what do you say? 2,000? No, £2,500. I think in life, margin is everything. Don't you find the world an intensely amusing place? I know I do.
To stay in this house any longer is impossible. Tonight, a man who loved me offered me his whole life, and I refused it. It was foolish of me. I will offer him mine now. I will go to him. Arthur has never understood